Michael Gough is a voiceover talent that is one of the most sought after in his field. He has appeared in iconic cartoons such as Winnie the Pooh, Johnny Quest and Scooby-Doo amongst others. The man's video game repertoire is so vast that I could basically be here all day if I listed off everything. You've heard his voice in Metal Gear Solid 3, Snake Eater, Doom, Resident Evil 4, Killer 7, but to name a few. And as Gears of War came out this past week, I saw it only fitting to speak to the man behind the Carmine brothers. I started off by asking Michael how he got into voice acting.
I wouldn't necessarily say it was something I wanted to do as a child, but I think it's something that I did as a child, just, kind of mindlessly watching TV and mimicking things and sitting around in my room and, playing around with things and using my voice to give character to toys or, like I say, mimicking the TV or the radio or something. It wasn't until really that I was almost done with college that I even kind of discovered the whole acting thing. It was something that was kind of in the back of my mind, I suppose, because I always enjoyed speaking and reading out loud, but I was almost done and about to graduate from college. Wasn't really sure what I was going to do. Music is another thing that I'm into, and I had originally actually gone to this university on a little tiny athletic scholarship, and I wasn't really sure what I was going to do. And then I saw signs around the campus that said auditions for original one-act plays. And that was something that just piqued my curiosity. I thought, that would be fun to do before I leave school and get out into the real world. So I auditioned for and got into one of these little plays, and it was just one performance, one night. And it the bug bit me. I thought, oh, wait a minute, is this something you can actually do? So then I stuck around and in school for a couple of more years and studied it and got a master's degree in theater. And I'm still really good friends with the gal who wrote that one-act play way back when, and she's gone on to be a really good and successful writer. So that's how I kind of got started in the acting thing. And then after I finished school, I moved to LA. I'm originally from Northern California, and I was going to school in Santa Barbara, which is, it's about 90 minutes north of Los Angeles. And it just seemed like the natural progression to keep heading south to Hollywood, and I just started, trying to do the whole actor thing and, working side jobs and auditioning and doing a lot of theater. And the voiceover thing was, again, it was something that was kind of in the back of my mind, and I wasn't really that aware of it as a gig or a career. But I did eventually take a class, a workshop, which helped, and it sort of indirectly led to me being able to get an agent. And then I started doing auditions and getting some work here and there. And I thought, well, I should go down the path of financial reward. Because when you're an actor, like the on-camera stuff and theater and the film stuff, it was pretty, I did a lot of plays, kind of back-to-back and ongoing over a number of years. And it doesn't really pay the rent out here. And the on-camera jobs were pretty few and far between. And then when I got into the voice acting thing and started getting a few jobs and realizing I really enjoy this, and this is something, like I said, even when I was a little kid, it almost seems natural now because I think I was doing it all the time anyway. So that's kind of a long answer to your...
No, that's perfectly fine, Michael. I suppose last week the potential game of the year, Gears of War 3, came out, and you voice personally one of my favorite characters from the series, Carmine. First of all, how did you get the role to play, I suppose, the Carmine brothers, Ben, Clay, and Anthony?
Well, as I recall, and as we all know, the first two Carmines are not no longer with us.
God rest their souls.
God rest their souls, indeed. Yes. Originally, when I did the first game, I didn't. And this happens a lot with video games. You work on something and it doesn't even necessarily have a title, or they're just keeping it secret. So it's called, they give it a fake name, while you're working on it, or they just call it Untitled Project. And I remember, doing it, and I'm not even sure if the character had a name in the very beginning. Anthony Carmine in Gears of War 1, he doesn't really show up that much. But eventually after recording the lines and having the game come together, the character was given an identity, and I think, and I can't remember exactly if this was something that I had auditioned for. It may have been. I know the guy that was the director, the voice director, who was also, worked on 2 and 3, was somebody that I had worked for before. So I can't exactly remember if on Gears of War 1, what turned out to be Gears of War 1, if he called me and I just, got to do that job without auditioning, or if it was something that I auditioned for. I can't even remember. But I did know the director a little, so he was, familiar with me, and I could have just gotten a call to come and do this. And then all of a sudden, this character sort of took on a little life of his own and connected somehow with the fans. And even though, he gets his head blown off, there was something that resonated enough so that people cared about him. And then, when it was rumored that, hey, Carmine's coming back in Gears of War 2, I said, well, wait a minute, how's that possible? He's dead. Oh, it's his brother. Luckily, his brother kind of sounded like him, so I was able to. And they were sort of similar, personality-wise, both kind of younger and gung-ho and kind of green around the gills, but ready to jump into the action, but also kind of like easily scared of what's going on around them. Mm-hmm. So it just kind of kept growing and growing in the whole Carmine myth. Excuse me, my cat is about to step on the keyboard here. I don't want to sever the connection.
That's no problem. Michael, was there any little? Were you ever instructed or directed to kind of play the character with any different nuances between the different iterations of Carmine, or was it always known and always planned that the Carmine brothers were going to be very, very similar?
Yeah, no, I think it sort of developed as it went along. The first, Anthony was pretty much really kind of young and raw, and in the scene where his head explodes and his I can't get this thing is jammed, and he's just a kid basically, and I don't think there was. I mean, that was pretty much the direction and the parameter for him when we were recording. Then with Benjamin, there was a little more going on. He was, I think he had a little bit more of a fight in him, maybe, so to speak. He was a little more willing to jump into danger. Private Benjamin Carmine reporting for duty, sir. I'm ready to go. What are we gonna do?
Yeah.
But Anthony and Benjamin are pretty similar along those lines, so there may not have been really much of a difference vocally between them, but there was kind of a difference in attitude, in that Benjamin was a little more fully developed and had more going on, and was, yeah, he was a little bit more jazzed and in awe and excited about where he was going and what was going on around him. And then Clay, yeah, well, Clayton, we haven't really gotten in him yet, but that was a whole, and then it developed further from there with Clayton.